दोस्तों स्वागत है आपका इस YouTube चैनल में. This video is mainly focuses on URDPFI guidelines prepared by Ministry of Urban Development, and this is first national level guidelines prepared in 1996, originally called as Urban and Regional Development Plans Formulation and Implementation Guidelines, in short URDPFI guidelines. In this video we will particularly focuses on URDPFI guidelines released in 2015. And these guidelines provide the framework for preparation and implementation of urban development plans. So friends, once again welcome back to this channel. My name is Rahul and you're watching Architecture and Planning with Rahul. So as we know, these guidelines are prepared for planning of urban areas. Therefore, it is very essential to understand what are urban areas. And URDPFI provides a very rigid and fixed definitions of urban settlement. Before looking into those definitions, let's just understand what is settlement. So basically we have three types of settlements. First is rural settlement. These are the areas where the main economic source is agriculture, and that's why these areas have big farmlands and scattered settlements. Population of such areas are very less in the ratio of its area. Hence the population density is very low. Second type of settlement are suburban areas. These are also known as peri-urban areas or the transition areas between the rural and urban areas. Such type of areas are developed because of its proximity with urban areas but are generally considered as a rural area. There are mainly two reasons of why a suburban area is generally formed. Number one is because of the saturation in urban areas, and due to the saturation there will be no land available within the urban area. And second reason will be availability of low cost land in rural area, but because of high dependency on urban areas, people wanted to live as much as close to these urban areas. Third type of settlements are urban areas itself. And what is an urban area? So there is a predefined definition of urban area given in URDPFI guidelines. According to these guidelines, urban settlements are divided into two categories. First are those which have an urban local bodies such as municipality, municipal corporation, cantonment board, or any kind of notified town area committees such as Nagar Panchayat, Nagar Palika, Nagar Nigam, etc. And these urban areas are known as statutory town. And other than this, there are three criteria to define an area as an urban. First is a area must have minimum 5,000 population. Second is it must have population density of 400 persons per square kilometer. And the last criteria is its 75% of male population should be involved in non-agriculture activities. And if an area meets all the three criteria, then it will be considered as a census town. So this is how we can define an urban settlement. And now we will see the classification of town based on the population sizes. So based on population sizes, urban settlements are classified into 5 categories. The lowest category is known as a small town or transitional towns. Population range of 5,000 to 20,000 is considered as small town 1, and governing local authority will be Nagar Panchayat. Whereas small town 2 will have the population range between 20,000 to 50,000, and they can be governed by either Nagar Panchayat or Municipal Council. And as per Census 2011, almost 7,500 towns are classified as small town in India. Medium town also has two subcategories. Medium town 1 has population range between 50,000 to 1 lakh, and medium town 2 have the population range of 1 lakh to 5 lakh. And this both type of medium town will have municipal council as their governing body. Third is large city, which have the population range between 5 lakh to 10 lakhs. It is governed by municipal corporation. Metropolitan city type has two subcategories, in which city with population 10 lakh to 50 lakh comes under metropolitan city 1, and city with population 50 lakh to 1 crore will come under metropolitan city 2. These cities can be governed by municipal corporation or metropolitan planning committee. Fifth and the last category is megapolis. This title will given to the city with more than 1 crore population, and they will also governed by municipal corporation or metropolitan planning committees. Next, we will see planning system framework, and we'll study about the various types of plans. In urban and regional planning, there are two types of plans. First is core area of planning and the other is spatial and investment planning. This chart showing the hierarchy of planning system. So perspective plans are the topmost planning layer. These are generally prepared for very wide area such as a district, state or a country, and therefore prepared for almost 20 to 30 year of horizon period. Such plans generally have policy level frameworks and intervention of various sectors. In questions, they may ask about the time frame of various plans. So just keep these things in mind. So after perspective plans, regional plans are the highest level of plans and they are generally prepared for a planning area delineating multiple cities or towns. इसके अलावा किसी स्टेट के मल्टीपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के लिए भी रीजनल प्लान तैयार किया जा सकता है. बेसिकली रीजनल प्लान्स हम ऐसे टाउन सिटीज़ और डिस्ट्रिक्ट के लिए प्रिपेयर करते हैं जो एक दूसरे पर काफ़ी इंटरडिपेंडेंट हो. रीजनल प्लान्स को अगले 20 साल के हिसाब से बनाया जाता है. बोथ अर्बन एंड रूरल एरियाज कैन बी पार्ट ऑफ रीजनल प्लान्स विदाउट चेंजिंग देयर स्टेटस. Next comes the development plan. They are also called master plans. These plans are prepared for next 20 to 30 years and reviewed in every 5 years period. These are the comprehensive development plans of urban areas or peri-urban areas, and sometimes it includes rural areas if its growth rate is higher than the usual rural areas or economy or income of household is shifting to non-agriculture activities. Our development plan comes right under perspective plans or regional plans. Development plan or master plan has more detail than perspective plan or regional plan, and therefore their implementability is higher because they are prepared after thorough ground survey and analysis. In core area planning, local area plans are the lowest level of plans. They can also be called as neighborhood plans. These type of plans are generally prepared for wards or group of wards known as zones and includes detail up to the provision of basic infrastructure in various localities. Such plans have time frame of 5 to 20 years with review in every 5 years. Other than this core area plannings, there are several specific and investment planning, in which first is special purpose plan such as mobility plan or comprehensive mobility plans, also known as CMP. CMP's main purpose is to improve mobility within the city. Apart from this, city sanitation plan, disaster management plan, tourism master plan, environmental conservation plan or heritage conservation plans are some example of special purpose plans. They also have a time frame of 5 to 20 years. Other than this, there is annual plans which have time frame of 1 year. Example of annual plans are investment plan, state action plan, and audit and monitoring plan. And entire study of any of such plans can be considered as project or research. A main purpose of a research is to identify gaps and understanding the benchmark or standards so that it can use as a case study for a different location. URDPFI guidelines also talks about the institutional setups at different levels. For example, at state level, Town and Country Planning Department is headed by Chief Town Planner. At district level, District Planning Committee is headed by Chief District Planning Officer. At city level, urban local bodies such as municipality, development authorities will be headed by Chief Town Planner. So on the screen, you can see the entire institutional setup from a city to state level. Just go through once and you will understand each and every position of this institutional setup. So this was the governance structure, and now we will see how a comprehensive plan can be prepared. So to standardize a plan so that it can be understood by any planner across any state of India, a land use color code has been given in URDPFI so that development authorities and planners can refer to it. Let's look into these color codes. Residential should be represented in yellow, whereas mixed residential should be in orange. Mixed residential means if there are two land use in a plot, then one should be of residential, where residential will be main land use. Unplanned residential zones such as slum will be represented by brown color. Color code of commercial is blue. Industrial land use will be represented by purple. Public and semi-public spaces such as offices and session courts will be represented by red. Recreational activities includes parks, sport complex, zoos and city centers. Color code of this activity and land use is dark green. Roads should be represented in black color. And lastly, agricultural land use will be represented in light green color. On the right side of your screen, you can see a master plan of Indore. It was prepared by using the land use color code scheme given by URDPFI. Other than this, Amrut also provide guidelines and color code for land use. Color code of Amrut is slightly different from URDPFI guidelines. Now let's see what should be the scale of these plans. One thing, just keep in mind that the higher the ratio of plan, the smaller the object will be. Now let's see the scale of each plans. So perspective plans that covers larger region should have a scale of 1:250,000 to 1:1 lakh. And perspective plan of small regions will be in scale of 1:1 lakh to 1:50,000. Now talking about regional plans. So if district development plan is prepared, then it should have a scale of 1:50,000 to 1:25,000. And if the region is metropolitan, then its scale should be 1:25,000 to 1:10,000. Scale of development plan or master plan should be 1:10,000 to 1:8,000 as per state's provision. Scale of local area plan or special purpose plan should be 1:5,000 to 1:1,000, and it depends on the requirement of the project. These scale related questions are generally asked in gate architecture or assistant town planning exams conducted by the state PSC. So just remember all these scales. Next is hierarchy of urban development. So smallest unit of planning is housing or neighborhood level, which start from at least 5,000 population and goes up to city level of population 50 lakh plus. And according to this hierarchy, an additional infrastructures are required based on the population. Let's move to the next topic, that is transportation planning. As per the standard of Ministry of Urban Development, urban roads are classified into 6 categories. Each type of roads have its own purpose, design speed and space requirement. Higher hierarchy of roads are wider, hence they required more space. They also designed for higher speeds. Higher the design speed means lesser the accessibility, which you can refer from this graph, where accessibility of road is inversely proportional to its speed. For example, local streets are highly accessible, but at the same time expressway or freeways are designed for higher speed, but these are less accessible roads. Design speed and width of each road is given in this table, whereas characteristics of each road, its width of each car lane and width of each bus lane is given in the table below. Please once go through this. Now let's understand each roads, their purpose and characteristics. So highest hierarchy of urban road is expressway. These are highways with dividers with at least 6 lanes. It has width of 50 to 60 meter, and such roads are designed for at least 80 km per hour of speed. Expressway work as regional roads that can connect more than one cities. In the image, you can see example of expressway. This is Mumbai-Pune Expressway built in 1999. Arterial roads come second in road hierarchy. These are the primary roads that carry the largest traffic volume within the city. Such roads also have 6 lanes with a median and are usually 50 to 60 meter wide, very similar to expressway but are designed for 50 km per hour of speed. Third is sub-arterial roads. These roads follows all the functions of arterial roads but generally carries lesser traffic volume. Such roads allow local or collector roads traffic to access arterial road. Unlike arterial roads, their design speed is 50 km per hour, but road width is limited to 30 to 50 meter. Also, they generally have 4 lanes with a median. Next is distributor or collector roads. These roads are generally 12 to 30 meter wide with design speed of 30 km per hour. That means they have equal axis and equal speed of the road. Distributor and collector can have maximum of 4 lanes with at least 3 meter wide each. Fifth is local streets. As these roads are in lower hierarchy, they are more accessible, hence should be made pedestrian and bicycle friendly. They have design speed of 10 to 20 km with road width varies from 12 to 20 meter. Such roads generally have 1 to 2 lanes with no medians, but their design should include proper traffic calming measure. Access street comes very last in the road hierarchy. These roads should be made pedestrian and bicycle friendly and usually connects individual building with local streets. Width of such road varies from 6 to 15 meter with 1 to 2 lanes with no median, and design speed is only 15 km per hour, hence they are more accessible. So this was the urban road hierarchy as mentioned in URDPFI guidelines. In this document, there are guidelines related to footpath. The width of footpath varies on the basis of its adjacent land use. That means it varies on the basis of its adjacent buildings. Let's see each one by one. If the adjacent land use is residential or mixed, the width of footpath in front of the road will be 1.8 meter. If the land use is mixed commercial, then the width will be 2.5 meter. For the building usage such as shopping frontages, it should be varies from 3.5 to 4.5 meter. Width of footpath adjacent to bus stops should be 3 meter. And for places such as high intensity commercial areas, the width of footpath should be at least 4 meter. Our next topic is related to vehicles, which is measures on the basis of passenger car unit, also known as PCU. Here the PCU value of a car is considered as 1 based on its speed and its carrying capacity, which is roughly around 4 to 5 passengers. Similarly, for other vehicles, the PCU value increases or decreases based on its equivalency factor in comparison to a cars. In this table, you can refer the PCU values of various vehicles. From PCU value, we can calculate the capacity of a road, as this table used to determine the space requirement for a particular kind of vehicle. In exams, PC value of various vehicles can be asked, especially of truck, bus and cycles. So truck and bus has the PC value of 3 and cycle has the value of 0.5. In URDPFI, there are norms related to parking. Parking space generally measures in ECS or equivalent car space. One ECS is equals to 2.5 by 5 meter of area, which is equal to area required to park an standard size car. Similar to PCU value, ECS values are also varies from vehicle to vehicle, and you should know ECS values of at least bicycle, bus and cars because these are very common and generally asked in various exams. URDPFI also provides parking standard based on the land use, which you can see and refer from the table given in bottom right corner. Now let's see the difference between PCU and ECS. So PCS is a unit used to measure the impact of different types of vehicles on traffic, whereas ECS is a unit used to measure parking spaces for different type of vehicles. PCS values are depend on area of the vehicle and its speed. And thus from PCU we can calculate the traffic flow and the road capacity. Right side of the table shows the permissible ECS for different land uses for its area of 100 square meter floor area. So for residential land use, 2 ECS area is required for per 100 square meter of area. For commercial land use, 3 ECS of parking space is required per 100 square meter floor area. For premises with manufacturing buildings, the ECS value will be 2. For government premises, it is 1. And if it is public and semi-public building, 2 ECS of parking space is required. Similarly, there are other norms based on the type of parking, which you can refer from the table given in bottom right corner. Also, there are parking norms specifically for hilly areas. So in hilly areas, all the norms that are applicable for non-hilly areas are also applicable on hilly areas. Other than this, if there is a residential dwelling unit, 1 ECS of parking space or a garage should be provided. Then if a building is an institutional building, 1 floor exclusively for parking should be compulsory. Social infrastructure starting with education sector. So if we planning a city for its next 10 to 20 years, we need to provide schools, colleges and universities based on the population of the city. And URDPFI guidelines gives specific numbers that how much schools we needed, how much area need to allocate for education facilities and where it should be located in the city. So in this table, you can see the type of schools. Some of them are important as they generally ask in many exams. I will name few of them. Start with pre-primary or nursery school. So for every 2500 population, a primary or nursery school is required. Its area should be 0.08 hectare and to be located near a park. So it can be used as a playground also. Next is a primary school, and a primary school is required for every 5000 population. Its area should be 0.4 hectare including the play area. So these were some important education facilities between pre-primary to secondary education. Let's see some guidelines related to higher education. So in a town or a city, a college is required when its population exceeds 1.25 lakh and its area should be of at least 5 hectare. If population of a town reaches to 10 lakh, then all type of technical and professional education institutes are required. So these were some guidelines related to education facilities. Let's move to health facilities. Health infrastructure related standards are prepared by Indian Public Health Standard 2012. And according to this, the calculation of number of beds is based on first the annual rate of admission as 1 per 50 population, and second their average length of stay in hospital as 5 days. Just like education facilities, URDPFI provides guidelines on health facilities based on its population size of a city or a town. On the right side of the screen, you can see a table with type of health facilities, the number of beds, population size of each facilities, and their required area. So a dispensary is required for every 15,000 population size and a polyclinic is required for every 1 lakh population size. So these were some common facilities. Please read the table for more detail. Now we will see infrastructure related to socio-cultural. So socio-cultural spaces include Anganwadi, community hall, recreational hub, old age home, religious buildings, and facilities which promote social and cultural activities. The table given in the right side of the screen, you can see the detail of socio-cultural facilities. For example, Anganwadi is required for every 5000 population, and for this 200 to 300 square meter of area should be provided. Similarly, a community hall or Mangal Karyalay need to be provided for every 15,000 population with an area of 750 square meter as per NBC. So this was socio-cultural facilities. Now we will see the definition and guidelines of open spaces. Open spaces can include 3 categories. First is recreational spaces, which includes sports field, public gathering or social interaction spaces, meditation spaces, and spaces which includes physical exercise or activities. Second is organized green spaces, which includes public parks, gardens, and environment-friendly spaces. Third category is other common open spaces, which includes floodplains, forest, and any kind of conserved open areas. Organized green spaces are the most important open spaces and are the essential part of residential areas. 3 to 4 local parks and playgrounds are required for housing or neighborhood clusters. In the next table, we will going to see the areas of organized green spaces based on its population size. So a housing park is required for every 5000 population with an area of at least 0.5 hectare. Next is neighborhood park, and it is required for every 15,000 population and its area should be of 1 hectare at least. In GATE Architecture 2025 exam, there was a question based on the neighborhood park where they asked about the size of population served per unit, and its answer was 15,000. Next higher hierarchy of organized green spaces is community level park, and the minimum area of such park should be 5 hectare and it should be served for at least 1 lakh population. Next is district park, and they are required for at least a city with 5 lakh population. The size of such park should be at least 25 hectare. And when the city's population crosses 10 lakh, a sub-city park is required with an area of 100 hectare. So these guidelines are mainly for plain areas. Let's see for hilly areas. In hilly areas, a housing area park is required for every 5000 population, very similar to the plain areas, but its area should be between 0.5 to 1 hectare. Our neighborhood park is required for every 10,000 population with an area should be 1.2 to 2 hectares. So these were some guidelines for organized green spaces in hilly areas. Each have their different population serving size and areas. Similar to such guidelines for open spaces in hilly areas, there are guidelines related to other social infrastructure in hilly areas. Let's start with education facilities. Primary school and secondary schools are the most important ones, and these can be asked in many exams. Next is health facilities. Just remember the guidelines for dispensary, nursing home, PSC and district hospital as they are important and can be asked in exams. Third is other facilities which you can see on the screen. This include milk booth, banquet hall, religious buildings such as temple, mosque and churches. They also include cremation ground and community welfare centers. Such centers are very common in Northeast India, especially in states like Manipur, Mizoram, and Nagaland. These are tribal dominated states where the community's strength is strong. Then comes the various services such as post office, police station, fire station, and electrical substations. So just read them all the services. These are all important from the planning point of view of a city or a town or a rural area. Whether they are located in the plain areas or in hill areas, these comprehensive guidelines makes URDPFI a essential document. So friends, that's all in this video. In the next video of this, we will talk about distribution services, about police and civil defenses, and we'll talk about the guidelines related to commercial activities. Make sure to like, share and subscribe the video. मिलेंगे आपसे अगले वीडियो में. Till then, keep looking up. You're watching Architecture and Planning with Rahul.